This is Lisa from Mobile Tech Review, and this is the Acer Spin 5. This is a 13.3-inch Windows convertible laptop, you know, with the 360-degree hinges, IPS touchscreen, pen support, and more. We're going to look at it now. So the Acer Spin 5 has been around the block. That means that this is a refresh of an existing model with the Intel 8th generation Whiskey Lake CPUs. That's like the Intel 8.5 generation CPU that brings faster gigabit Wi-Fi on board. It's a quad-core, 15-watt Ultrabook CPU inside. The design is pretty much the same on this. The battery's gotten a little bit bigger. We're up to 53.9 watt-hours. It used to be 48 when it first started out. So again, a 13.3-inch laptop, but there is also a 15.6-inch model. If you like what you see, you just want to see more of it, so to speak. It has an aluminum casing, top, bottom, deck, and the lid on the top has kind of a crosshatch aluminum pattern, and it's sort of like the aluminum version of plaid in a way. I don't know. I'm not in love with that texture, but you might like it. It has a white backlit keyboard. Travel is not real deep on this because it's pretty thin at 15.9 millimeters, but the feel is very good. The tactile feel is pleasant, good keyboard, key balance and return, that sort of thing. We have a Microsoft Precision trackpad on board as well. Full HD display is your only option. It's about 166 ppi. It's glossy and it's a touch screen. And again, it supports the Acer pen, which is not included. That's $50 extra if you want it. It's n-trig technology, so a Surface pen is going to work, for example, if you can't find the Acer pen available near you or online. The bezels on this, I don't usually complain about them much, but these are Jurassic bezels. These look pretty huge, like from 2 years ago. So I know a bunch of you and the bezel police are going to be going, oh, them bezels. Inside we have typical Ultrabook stuff, and in this price range, which is a list price of $799, probably as typical of the Spin 5, we'll start seeing it for $749, maybe even $699 a couple of months down the road. You've got an NVMe SSD. The older versions used to be SATA 3, so that's an improvement. It's kind of a low-end Kingston drive, not the super fastest, but at this price range, that's not too bad. You have RAM that is soldered on board. It is DDR4, 2400 megahertz dual channel. Most configurations I've seen are 8 gigs. I haven't seen a 16 gig model, so if you do need more RAM, you'll have to choose a different laptop. It's soldered on, again, so no upgrading that. We have Intel 9560 AC gigabit Wi-Fi. That's a good thing, obviously. The usual Bluetooth on board as well. And we have stereo speakers that are designed so that they're not blocked no matter what position you put it in. Tablet, tent, laptop, presentation mode. You get the idea. And they're reasonably loud and full, so that's not bad. It has Amazon Alexa on board, and that means better than average microphones. It has 4 far-field microphones on board. In terms of weight, 3.31 pounds, which is 1.5 kilograms. That's obviously it's not a $1,200 plus HP Spectre X360 or something like that, where you're going to get the lightest weight possible, but it's not so bad. It's certainly compared to the Dell Inspiron 13 or 14-inch now 5000 series, it's a little bit lighter weight. Compared to the Lenovo Yoga 730, it's a little heavy. You get the idea. It's perfectly fine. And again, it's got a fairly thin profile on it, so it's not bad looking. It does have a Windows Hello fingerprint scanner embedded in the trackpad. Works absolutely fine. There's no Windows Hello IR camera option, which isn't a surprise in this price range. For ports, it has 3 USB Type-A ports. 2 of them are 3.0, 1 of them is 2.0. It has an HDMI port, it has the usual audio jack. In their specs, it lists Ethernet. It does not have Ethernet. Maybe they mean via optional dongle adapter. It does have a USB-C port. It does not have Thunderbolt 3. Usually you do have to spend $1,000 and upwards to get Thunderbolt 3, but again, there is that Lenovo Yoga 730, which does bring you Thunderbolt 3. But that one, it starts, you know, at around $750 and goes up from there, so it's ever so slightly a more expensive product. This is available with Intel Core i5 and i7 CPUs. We have the Core i5 model. No matter which way you go with the processor, you're going to have Intel UHD 620 integrated graphics, which is typical for a 13-inch convertible. Rarely will you find any meaningful dedicated graphics on board. The pen on this feels like older generation n-trig to me. If you're an artist, you're probably not going to be super excited. If you're a note-taker, you'll probably be okay with it, though. It's perfectly fine for note-taking. It has a nice kind of silky feel when the ink lays down, but things like diagonal line jitter, if you're drawing slow diagonal lines, which is something artists care about, it's got pretty wavy, jittery lines going on for the diagonals, but it's not too bad. The display on this, the good news, it's IPS, it's full HD, it's a reasonable resolution for a 13-inch laptop, and it has pretty good metrics in terms of the white point, the gamma, all those sorts of things. It's not super duper bright though, it's under 300 nits of brightness. Oh well. The gamut on it is pretty good though for a laptop in this price range. You've got a little bit better than average. Usually you see 75% Adobe RGB in this price range at best, and this one hits 79%, so slight bit better. It's pretty glossy though, so if you hate glare, there's that. But most convertibles with touch are glossy, so not Acer's fault. This comes with a super duper compact charger. If you hate carrying around charging bricks, you're probably going to love this thing. It's not much bigger than a little iPad charger. Again, they've upped the battery to 53.9 watt-hour, typical for the lithium-ion battery, and battery life is pretty good. Now, they claimed 13 hours, which, like most Windows laptop manufacturers, is pie-in-the-sky kind of stuff. But with Wi-Fi on, the display is set to 150 nits of brightness, doing mixed productivity, some streaming video, a little bit of Adobe Photoshop. We saw 7 to 8 hours, which is pretty good. So there's competition out there, obviously. I've mentioned the Lenovo Yoga 730 a few times, and that one is also worth a look. It might be a little bit pricier, but not gobs and gobs more money either. There's the HP Envy X360. Now that one these days is AMD Ryzen, which is okay, it's fine. It's up to you. A lot of people prefer Intel still, I know, so you might consider it, you might not. Then there's the very solid Dell Inspiron line. The 5000 series is the one that comes closest price-wise. And that one is now a 14-inch 2-in-1, so it's a little bit bigger. It's also heavier. Dell Inspirons are built sort of like tanks. This one's a little bit more svelte. To take off the bottom, you remove Phillips head screws. Note that the Phillips head screws along the front edge on this one are slightly smaller than the rest, so when you're putting it back together, keep that in mind. The bottom cover is metal too. You can hear the beautiful sound of metal. There's the underside. Obviously, we have our fan here, typical Ultrabook size fan. Heatsink is kind of small, but the laptop has no thermal issues, so no complaints there. Our socketed Intel 9560 AC gigabit Wi-Fi card, that's always good stuff. Our M.2 SSD slot with the Kingston kind of lower end NVMe SSD on board. RAM is soldered, so there's that. You can't upgrade it later after the fact. And as with most Ultrabooks, the battery takes up most of the space, and it says 53.9 watt-hour typical. So that's the Acer Spin 5 13.3-inch model, and you know, it's a tough world out there. There's a lot of competition, and these laptops keep getting better and better. And Acer is giving it a real go there. They've made a very thin and very nice looking laptop, as long as you're okay with that aluminum version of plaid for the texture on the lid. Lenovo Yoga 730 still has an advantage with things like Thunderbolt 3, arguably a slightly more aesthetically pleasing design, but it's not a bad effort from Acer at all. I'm Acer from Mobile Tech Review. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for more cool tech videos, and thumbs up if you like this vid.